Hello and welcome. This is business analysis using spreadsheets. Hi, I'm Emmett Gray. I'm going to be your instructor. I've got a few slides to go through to kind of just give you an introduction. So let's get after it. So about this class. This is a 100% online course. I will warn you though, just because it's online doesn't mean it's self-paced or anything. There are regularly scheduled things you have to do every single week, just like any other course you take. In the catalog, they talk about prerequisites, and they mention, counting prerequisites. However, you don't really need to have that many accounting skills, because this is really going to be more about using the tools that provide you, the kinds of things you need for business decisions and accounting decisions. But so some of the accounting concepts would be kind of cool to have, but not necessarily a requirement. There is a required textbook. It's this guy. Last time I checked, there was plenty of copies in the bookstore. The odd thing about this is the textbook is using Microsoft Excel 2013. This version of Office installed at the university is 2010. That's perfectly okay, but just don't expect to go down, for example, down to the lab and sit down on one of the machines and have it match exactly what's in the book. It'll be close enough. I mentioned that to everyone that, I tend to supplement the material in the textbook a great deal, particularly like on the quizzes and exams. It just kind of, in other words, the point of me telling you that is, you can't just say, oh, well, I'll just read the book. I'm not going to bother with those goofy videos. No, if you don't do the videos, you're not really going to do well. And obviously, since this is an online course, we spend a great deal of time doing things on Blackboard, as you can probably imagine. Okay, so obviously the only way we're going to be talking to each other is through Blackboard. So all your assignments, quizzes, announcements, email, feedback, everything is done through Blackboard, which kind of makes sense that you're going to have some sort of a computer to be able to connect. Blackboard really expects you to be running, Windows 7 or above. There are some requirements for the use of the browser. There's a browser check button. So if you go in there, let's just say you're reading Windows 10 and you're running an Edge browser or something different, kind of odd, you can go on the Blackboard, click a little button, it'll tell you if you're cool or not. Anyway, most people end up using Chrome, Google Chrome as the browser. You do need a reliable internet connection, I will tell you. I had one student, a couple semesters ago, lived out in the boonies somewhere. And, during the thunderstorm, he would lose connections all the time. So he was always frightened that whenever there was a test due, that there'd be a thunderstorm going on. And, he's halfway through the middle of his quiz and the power goes out and the internet goes out. Yeah. So he actually ended up, driving to the university occasionally to do his stuff. Whew. Okay. You are going to need Microsoft Excel to be able to do this work. Now, I will tell you, this is kind of weird. The university has a DreamSpark account where students like you can go sign up and get a little code, and you can go download the Excel files. Now, if I'm going to take the time and energy to go do all that, I would probably install the latest version of Excel. Hey, just me. So, even though the university is still using Office 2010, if I was going to take the time and energy to download something, I'd probably go ahead and get the 2013 version. Again, there's not that much difference. You'll be better because you'll match the book better. Just be aware that when you go down to the lab or one other classroom, you're not going to have the 2013 version. Okay. Yes, browsers, everything. Everybody knows everything you need to do about browsers. Okay, so what is your expectations? Well, let me tell you, you are going to learn one heck of a lot about using Microsoft Excel and doing things in a spreadsheet. When you're done with this course, you're going to know more about Excel than anyone else in the office. You are going to be an Excel expert at the end. Okay, so we are going to have special emphasis on accounting features where we're going to be doing, depreciation, and we're going to be doing payments and, interest and all the rest of those kind of calculations. But again, you know, not necessarily required because the concepts aren't that tough. It's not my job to turn you into some sort of a computer guru. If you're already a computer guru, that's fine. But again, you don't need to be a computer expert coming into this, and you're not going to end up being a computer expert at the end, okay? Just telling you. There are 14 chapters. They call them, you know, they use different terms. But we're only going to cover 13. The last one is kind of funky. It's about doing Visual Basic applications, and that's programming stuff, and we're not doing any of that. So yeah, 13 chapters in the book. Pretty cool. This is a little chart that I show at the beginning of all my classes, and so if you've had one of my classes before, you've heard all this before. My way of thinking is there's 3 different ways that you get good information. One is skills. Skills are things that you get by doing things over and over again. You know, the first time I go, you know, to the archery range and let an arrow go, it's not probably going to hit the bullseye, right? But if I keep at it over and over and over and over, then I'm going to get better at it. Well, that's skills. And we are going to be doing some skill building because a heck of a lot of the stuff you're going to be doing is going to be just repetition, you know, creating spreadsheets and creating new workbooks and, you know, copying cells and navigating through the system. You know, you'll be doing it over and over and over and over. So you're going to get some of that. Abilities. Now, abilities are things that, you know, some people are just going to be better at things than others, right? I mean, I'll never be a concert pianist, okay? It doesn't matter how hard I try. I'm never going to do that. That's just not one of my abilities. And so I'm not here to give you an ability that you don't already have. That's kind of silly. So if you got an ability, that's great, but I tend to spend a great deal of my energy in the blue area talking about the knowledge, the background, the concepts, the choices. You know, what happens if I choose this over that? And so I spend a great deal of time talking about how you can exploit your other skills and your abilities. So concentrating on the blue so I can help you with your green and the red, as an example. Which brings me to this topic of what versus why. I don't like to memorize stuff. I never did. You know, even as a kid, they would come up and say, you know, you got to memorize the state capitals. I'm going, why? You know, even before Google, I thought that was kind of dumb. And with Google, it's like, if somebody says, what's the capital of South Dakota? I'd say, hell, I don't know. Let me look it up. Right? So I don't need to memorize a bunch of stuff. So I make a distinction between the things that you can just, I forgot how to do something, so I can look it up. I can, you know, help files or go on online resources, versus those kind of things where I really need to have the background to be able to say, oh yeah, you know, if I do it this way, it's going to end up being a heck of a lot more complex. But if I do it this way, it's going to be an awful lot easier. You can't Google that kind of a question. So we're after, once again, the why. And a great deal of my test questions are not, I rarely ever have, you know, what's the definition of this term? That's not the way I do it. But I will say, explain why option A is better than option B for this scenario. Okay? And I don't want you to define the term. I'm really, really, really asking you why one choice is versus another. And let me tell you, this comes into play more often than you might think, because people just flat don't read the question when I'm asking why. I'll ask a why question and they'll give me a what answer. Okay, just telling you up front. Okay, so here are the course requirements. Your grade is basically consists of 4 parts. You have 2 major exams, a midterm and a final. You got a handful of quizzes, some assignments, and then class participation, which is made up of journal entries, which we'll discuss here in the next video, plus whether or not you participated in like the discussion forums and the syllabus quiz and things of that nature. So here's basically how it works out. About a third of your course is from the 2 major exams. Roughly a third is from the quizzes, and roughly a third is from doing the homework assignments. And then class participation is the remaining 5%. Okay, here's the course schedule. This is a 16-week course. The way it works is the classes start on Monday, and everything is due the following Sunday. Now you can look at this chart and figure out immediately that something is due every single week. Okay, it could be a quiz, could be an assignment, but every single week something is due at midnight on Sunday. So just put that aside, and you just know that every single week you're going to have something to turn in, okay? So this is an online course. It's the exact same material that you'd get if this was a face-to-face course. The chapter videos are kind of long. They're 1 to 1.5 hours, maybe 2 hours long for a big video. This is a fast-paced course. We do 1 chapter a week. Okay, it's going pretty quick. And once again, either a quiz or assignment is due every single week. No surprises here, guys. All right. Digging into a little bit deeper about the exams. So midterm and the final exam, since this is an online course, it's being conducted at home, right? So at home you can have open book, open notes. You can have a browser open to the internet. That's okay. There's going to be 40 questions plus 2 extra credit questions. So I guess really a total of 42 questions, an hour and 15 minutes to complete, and it is timed, and you have to do it all in one setting. Okay. We are going to have a review session the class period before the actual exam. The take-home quizzes, the small quizzes, same thing. It's open book, open everything. 20 questions, 1 hour limit. Most people don't have any trouble. I post at the end of every lecture, I post my lecture notes. Now these are my notes that I use just to it's not an outline for them, and I use it to kind of keep track of what to say, remember what to talk about. And I don't even run it through spell check. I just do it in Notepad. So it's crude, but hey, for me it's a good note. So after I'm done with the lecture, I post those notes out. And smart students know if I think it's important to talk about, most likely those are going to be the topics that are going to be on the quizzes and the exams. I'll put it in reverse. There's never been an item on a quiz or exam that hasn't been in the lecture notes. Okay? Word to the wise? Okay. I do a 5-point penalty per day when things are late, so don't be late. Okay. Here's how the assignments work. First of all, read the frickin' assignment. I'm stunned by the number of people who I'll ask for something and then they'll turn something in completely different, and I'll go back and read the assignment. That is not at all what I asked for. Okay. Typically, you're going to be submitting an Excel document. Okay, maybe more than one document, but keep going. And I have a special naming convention that I use. When you submit a document, it kind of looks like this. It's CISK301 space, the assignment space, your last name dot your first name, and then whatever the file extension is, which is most likely going to be an XLSX file. So 2 and exactly 2 spaces. Got it? Okay. Obviously, all submissions are going to be done through Blackboard. There's and you can resubmit assignments. No, not quizzes, but you can submit an assignment. I can scribble on it, send it back to you, and then you could say, "Oh, okay," and you could just resubmit it as many times as you like. Now, remember, there's still going to be a 5-point per day penalty, so you'll reach a point of no return there. I mean, after 5 days or something, geez, you're probably not going to get any more grades. I don't do group assignments. I never liked group assignments. I thought that was dumb. And once again, there's 5-point penalty per day on assignments. So here's the grading rubric for doing assignments. The vast majority of the points from the assignment come from, did you learn what it is you're supposed to learn? The chapter-specific objectives. There's a sizable chunk for, did you read and follow instructions? And then the rest has to do with, is it pretty, is it neat, and then spelling and grammar and things, kind of things. Now, I'm going to stop this video now because I typically make videos about 15 minutes long. So I'll stop, and then we'll just pick up the next video, pick up the conversation in the next video. So, see you guys in just a few.